Good afternoon, class. Here is our first lecture as I promised. Well, the very first lecture is about describing charts and graphs. This is not something new. We did this in the first semester, but I didn't emphasize so much the exercises and the verbs that we must use in order to describe changes at the level of charts, graphs. Well, here are some examples. Verbs that we use in order to describe an upward movement. What do I mean by an upward movement? When the graph is getting up in this way, okay? So the verbs that we use are to rise, to increase, to grow, to climb, to get better, to improve. Notice that the two last verbs, I mean to get better and to improve, are used only for positive situations. That is to say, when you want to talk about positive issues, positive changes, positive situations, you use these two verbs. You cannot use these two verbs for negative situations. Here are the examples for further illustrations. The basic income tax rate will rise from 25% to 28%. And notice that when we use the verb to rise, we have to use the expression from to, i.e., from a percentage to another, from a figure to another, from a number to another. It depends on the graph or on the chart. So the basic income tax rate will rise from a status to another, from a position to another. When I say to rise, it means the very first number should be less than the second one. It means that the first number is less than the second number or the second percentage. Second example, ABC sales improved last year by 10% to $1 million. Well, improved. Why have we used the past simple tense? Simply because we have the fragment or the expression last year. So we should use the verb in the past tense. And since it's a regular verb, so we have only one possible spelling, which is the addition of ed at the end. ABC sales improved last year by 10% to $1 million. So look at the use of by a percentage to a new status. By, that is the rate of the increase or the growth, to $1 million. Now, the third example, the UK inflation rate has climbed. And notice the pronunciation is climbed. We do not pronounce the b, since b sound here is silent. So has climbed to 3%. Why have we used the ed? Because it is a past participle. We've got here the present perfect tense. Has plus the verb or has plus the past participle. To a percentage. The expression to plus a number or to plus a percentage is used with the verb to climb. Okay? Now let's go to the verbs that we may use for downward movement. What do we mean by downward movement? So when we've got a graph or a line in the graph that is descending from the top to the down or from a higher point to a lower point. So here are the verbs that we may use for such a situation: to fall, to decrease, to decline, to drop, to get down, to deteriorate. So to get down or to get worse. The two last verbs again, to get down or to get worse and to deteriorate, are used only for negative situations. We cannot use these for positive situations, of course. So here are the examples. Travel agents are expecting a 4% fall in prices. But notice that here we do not have a verb, but rather a noun. It's a noun derived from the verb to fall. We say to fall, but the noun is a fall. Travel agents are expecting a 4% fall in prices. CBA profits decreased from 4.5 million euro to 4.2 million euro as sales continued to deteriorate. So notice that here the first verb is to decrease, but it is used in the past tense, and since it's a regular verb we have added ed. Here we've got the infinitive form of the verb, or the infinitive, which is to deteriorate. Now, let's see now the adjectives. We've seen together the verbs. Now let's see the adjectives and adverbs used to describe rate of change, i.e. the quantity and speed of change. We've got 5 possible situations. Now, in order to describe large changes, we have some adjectives and adverbs that we may use in order to describe such a situation or such situations. Considerable, considerably, dramatic is an adjective. Dramatically, it's an adverb. Sharp, it's sh sound. Sharply, which is an adverb. Significant, significantly. Substantial, substantially. So these are the adjectives and adverbs that we may use in order to describe rate of change, especially when we've got large changes. Now, if we have fast changes in graphs or charts, we've got the adjective abrupt, the adverb abruptly, quick, quickly. So adjective, adverb, rapid, rapidly, sudden, suddenly. But if we want to put the verb or to put the adjective fast, we cannot say fast adjective and adverb fastly, because fast is an adjective and the adverb of such an adjective is fast as well. Now, in order to describe small changes, we've got moderate, moderately, slight, slightly. Slow changes. Now, slow changes. The speed of change now. Slow, slowly. The adjective slow, the adverb is slowly. Now, if we have regular changes or stable changes, we've got gradual, gradually, steady, steadily. Okay? Now, high points, low points, and staying the same. If we've got situations where we have high points in charts or in graphs, low points, or when the graphs are staying the same, we've got situations here with examples. To reach the highest point and then go down. So, when the line reaches the highest point, for instance, and then gets down this way, which means the graph is illustrated as follow. Okay? So here we've got to peak, to reach a peak, because this is a peak. The highest point in the graph is called the peak. To peak, the verb. To reach a peak here is a noun. To reach a maximum, to top out. We say the graph reaches a maximum or tops out. Okay, now the second situation, so I should clean these in order to draw further images or further examples. Okay, to reach the lowest point and then rise. So to reach the lowest point and then rise. This is the lowest point, okay, which means if I've got to illustrate this via arrows, this is the way I should do it. To hit bottom, to reach a low point, to bottom out, which is the contradictory word to top out. Now see, firstly I should clean these in order to draw further drawings. To stay at the same level on the graph or chart, the same level, okay. Here, to remain stable, or we say to stabilize, to remain constant, to level off. Now D, to go up and down continuously, okay. To go up and down, up and down, up and down, okay. Right, we use the verb to fluctuate, the noun is fluctuation, okay. So I should clean all these. A second please. Now we've got here an exercise or a task where you have to refer to these graphs or to describe these changes at the level of the graphs, but I'd like to keep this as a piece of homework. So you are asked to do this as a homework and to send it via my email, okay, no later than the 28th of February. So just make sure that this is the deadline. I've put it in the site. We'll move to the following exercise. I guess I just gave you this exercise as a piece of homework in the first semester, but I'd like to emphasize the correction of the exercise, all right? So have a look at the exercise. This task is checking your knowledge of several keywords and phrases used to describe movement. For example, look at this first image. We've got here a graph which is getting up or increase. There is an increase, there is a rapid growth. So here, increased rapidly. So look at the use of the verb. It's in the past simple. Here too, went up a bit. So in the second image B, we've got here that the line is going up a bit. It's going up but a bit, not rapidly, okay, slightly. These are examples that may help you in order to do the following exercise. So you've got here pictures or images of different graphs, C, D, E, F, and G. You have to match the following pictures with the correct phrase. Climbed slightly, increased steadily, dropped markedly, declined a little, and rose dramatically. Okay, so have a few seconds in order to think about the exercise. So I do mean this line, starting from this point to the point to this point, this line. Here it's this line, and here it is this line, and here it's the movement from the top to the bottom. Here it's the movement from the bottom to the top. So how are these movements? Well, I think it's time to correct. Well, as for the first C, it's quite clear. I have a much clearer example here. So it is C, it's climbed slightly. There is an increase, but which increase? A slight increase, okay? So it is this, climbed slightly. Now D, here there is a downward movement from the top to the bottom, but how is this movement? How is this movement? It's a small decline, so it is declined a little. You see? Now see, there is an increase, but how is this increased? Is it fast increase? Is it a slow increase? How is it? E. It's increased steadily. Steadily, regularly. Okay? A regular change here. There are two expressions that are remaining, dropped markedly and rose dramatically. So F, is it rose dramatically or dropped markedly? Certainly it is to drop, dropped markedly. It's a quick or a fast drop from the peak to the bottom. Okay? From the peak to from the top to the bottom. But how is this movement? It's a downward movement, but a quick one. Now G. For G, so here it's dropped markedly. Okay. The last one, certainly it is the last expression or fragment, rose dramatically. Okay, sorry for these lines, but this is just for the sake of illustrating. Okay, now it is to rise dramatically or rose dramatically. Notice that, sorry, I must clean all these together. Well, look at the use of the verbs here. All verbs are in the past simple, describing possibly a situation that happened in the past. Climbed, declined, increased, rose, dropped. Dropped is a regular verb, increased a regular verb, climbed a regular verb, declined as well is a regular verb, but rose is an irregular verb. The infinitive is to rise. Okay? Let's move to the following exercise. Task 3. Well, in this example or in this task, you have to choose the option which makes the most sense. It's a speech said by someone. Have a look at this. Last year was really good. Look at the use of the past simple tense. Last year was really good. Profits fell, rose dramatically after we launched. Here is the past simple, glenogen or glenogen. Well, for the verb here, you've got fell and rose. Both verbs are in the past simple. You have to choose one option to make a better sense. And here you can see how it affected the past simple. The rest of the market, CFL remained stable or gradual. Which one is better? Which was a bit of surprise, but Janfil was hit quite badly. Sales increased or decreased to almost non-existent. So what do we say? Increased or decreased? Now look here. This next graph shows what we think will happen next year. Good news again. Everything's going up or going down. You have to choose one verb or one option. Okay, so have a few seconds to think about the exercise. The neighboring words like dramatically, I mean the adverb, like the verb remained, a bit of surprise, hit quite badly. All these expressions or phrases might help you find or figure out the right option. What we think will happen next year. Good news again. So let's correct the exercise. Have a look at this. Last year was really good. Profits fell or rose dramatically after we launched Glenogen. So look, the year was really good. So it means it's something positive. Certainly it is the verb rose and not fell. So rose is the past or the irregular past of to rise. Fell is to fall. Rose dramatically after we launched Glenogen. And here you can see how it affected the rest of the market. CFL remained stable, gradual, which was a bit of surprise. But remained stable or gradual? Stable. Something stable. It remained stable, which was a bit of surprise, but Janfil was hit quite badly. Sales increased or decreased to almost non-existent. Two main expressions may help us find or figure out the right option. Hit quite badly and to almost non-existent. If I say that the situation has changed from a position or a status to an almost non-existent, it means sales decreased. This is why we've done or we had put hit quite badly. Now look here. This next graph shows what we think will happen next year. Good news again. Good news, something good is going to happen. So everything's going up, not down. Everything's going up. Okay, something positive. This is the exercise. I will post the correction on the site. Let's move to the following exercise. I might change the position of my, well, you've got the graphs. This is one, okay? 1, 1, 2, and 3. You have to match the graphs 1, 2, 3 to the descriptions A, B, and C. Look at A, B, and C opposite to help you. Okay. After peaking early in 2001, Dutch bank shares declined for nearly 2 years, apart from a slight rise in the autumn of 2001. They bottomed out in early 2003 and climbed steadily for most of the year. They fell again in the summer of 2004, but the end of the year saw an improvement. So, which graph fits this description? Is it 1, 2, or 3? Next, following a sharp fall early in 2001, UBS shares were up and down for a couple of years, reaching a low of CHF 14 September 2002. They improved steadily in 2003, and after a moderate drop in the middle of 2004, they began to increase again. Barclays shares reached a peak in spring 2002 and then fell steadily for 6 months before rising slightly and then dropping again until the end of the year. However, 2003 saw an almost non-interrupted or uninterrupted growth, which despite a couple of moderate falls continued in 2004. Okay, so here are the graphs. You will find this posted on the site again. Have a few seconds to think about the exercise. Well, here, let's have the correction. For A class, you've got I wonder whether it is clear for you or not. Well, so the first expression, after peaking early in 2001, Dutch bank shares declined for nearly 2 years. Okay, so which picture or which graph is most fitting for this description? It's 2, picture 2, or graph number 2. So look, after peaking early in 2001, Dutch bank shares declined. There is a decline, okay, for nearly 2 years, apart from a slight rise in the autumn of 2001. A slight rise. Here is the slight rise in 2001. They bottomed out in early 2003. Here is 2003. They bottomed out. Okay. And climbed steadily for most of the year. Okay. They fell again in the summer of 2004. Here is 2004. 4. Okay. But the end of the year saw an improvement. The end of the year saw a kind of improvement, but a slight improvement, a slight growth. Okay, so expression A is with the graph number 2. Now, B. B, it's with 3. B, following a sharp fall early in 2001, 2001, there is a fall here. UBS shares were up and down for a couple of years, up and down fluctuations, okay? Reaching a low of CHF 14 September 2002. They improved steadily in 2003. An improvement, okay? A stable one, or steadily, it is, yes, it went up steadily. And after a moderate drop in the middle of 2004, a moderate drop, a small drop in the middle of 2004, they began to increase again. There is a growth or an increase. Now C is with, C, it's with the remaining, it's with graph number 1. Barday's shares reached a peak in spring 2002. A peak, yeah, here is the peak in 2002. And then fell steadily for 6 months. Here. Okay. And before rising slightly, and then dropping again until the end of the year, and again rise and then dropping again. However, 2003 saw an almost non-interrupted growth, which despite a couple of moderate falls continued in 2004. So a rise, a fall, a rise, a fall, a rise. Okay, after 2004 there is a steady rise or improvement. Still have one exercise where you have a text describing a graph, and you have a list of words from the box. You have to choose the words from the box and put the words in the right gaps. Look at A, B, C opposite to help you. I mean the before mentioned exercises. Well, the number of hedge funds in 1991, 1992, but has ever since. Although the number of funds between 1992 and 1997, the assets of the funds only, there were in hedge funds total assets in 1999 and 2003. So you've got 5 expressions: grew slowly, remained stable, sharp increases, increased rapidly, risen regularly. Grew is the past simple of to grow. Sharp increases, increased rapidly. Rising is the past participle of to rise. So you've got to put the words in the gaps, suitable gaps. A few seconds. The graph in front of you might help you find the suitable words. Okay, let's see the correction. The number of hedge funds in 1991, 1992. See the graph. 1991, 1992. The number of hedge funds, okay, remained stable. Remained stable. So this is 1. Remained stable. Look at the graph. But has ever since. But has risen regularly ever since. Number 2. Although the number of funds, number 3, number of funds between 1992 and 1997, look at the graph, 1992 and 1997. Although, yes, the funds increased rapidly. Number 3, increased rapidly, yes, between these years. The assets of the funds only, number 4, only grew slowly. There is a growth, slow growth. So it is number 4. Okay. There were in hedge funds total assets in 1999 and 2003. 1999 and 2003 there is what? Number 5, sharp increases. Okay, there were sharp increases. Number 5. Okay. Here is another exercise which is related to the previous ones, but I'd like to keep this as well as a piece of homework, a second homework, in addition to the very first task. Okay, you've got to do it within this week and send the solution to these exercises via my email. You will find my email on the site. So you've got to describe the graph. You make a description of the graph showing the price of gold. Look at A, B, and C opposite to help you. I mean the previous exercises. So you have to describe this. You've got a number or a list of verbs, a list of adjectives, all along with adverbs. You have to choose the right verbs with the right tense and describe. You try. Just make a kind of trial. And next time we will correct both tasks. Thank you very much for your listening and for your attendance, because it's an attendance. And see you next time. Next time, the lecture might be in a form of an audiovisual meeting, but I'm going to tell you in advance about the date and the timing of this meeting. Thank you very much.